In Mounce chapter 13, we're introduced to the demonstrative pronouns and adjectives. Demonstratives are words that are used to point out things, and in English we have demonstrative pronouns as well. The demonstratives are usually described in terms of being near or far demonstratives. So this first handout, or it's actually the only handout I'm giving you, when we go over the far demonstratives, I'm just going to write down a couple of things. But the near demonstratives are going to be translated, or we are near demonstratives are this and these, if it's plural, and our far demonstratives are that and those. Okay? So when we use near and far demonstratives, the point of orientation is the speaker. So if the speaker is speaking and something is near the speaker would use the demonstrative this to refer to it. So if I'm the speaker and I'm holding a pen in my hand, I would talk about this pen, okay? But if you're holding a pen in your hand and you're farther from me than my pen is, then I would refer to your pen as that pen, not this pen. And if I said, hey, Axel, throw me this pen, and he's holding a pen, that sounds awkward, doesn't it? It doesn't seem to make sense. And the reason it doesn't is because we instinctively know that demonstratives are indexed to the speaker. I would say, throw me that pen. And if Axel became the speaker, then he would tell me to throw me that pen, and it would refer to the pen I'm holding. Okay? So it's this if I'm talking about it, and it's that if he's talking about it. It's the same pen. All right? So spatial orientation is usually, prototypically, what the near and far demonstratives refer to. Sometimes they refer to temporal location, this morning versus that day. So it's not a physical distance, but it's a temporal distance, right? So the prophets speak of that day coming. It's a day far away, as it were, okay? As opposed to this day, which is today. Does that make sense? All right, so we have ways of indicating the number of the near and far demonstratives in English. We don't distinguish gender here in English. Greek will. Greek will actually distinguish gender and number and case. So there will be multiple forms of the demonstratives that we don't really have in English. All right, so Greek will be more specific that way. So we're going to tackle the near demonstratives of Greek first. And again, this is Mounce chapter 13. So if you don't have your textbook open, go to page 106, 107 to get to that part of the lesson. Now, the near demonstratives have regular case endings. So this is the good news. There's really not a whole lot new to talk about in terms of case. It's just determining which ones are the near versus the far demonstratives. So they have regular case endings and mainly follow the forms of the definite article. Just some minor exceptions here. So in the chart below, all the forms, at least in my presentation here, are going to be colored. The handouts I gave you don't have color, all right? But if you find these on my website, the color will be here. But the forms of the article are in blue. In the columns of the near demonstratives, the endings are in blue, insofar as the endings reflect the article. And then where the ending diverges from the form of the article, it's going to be highlighted in red. All right? So let's take a look at these forms here. Here are the near demonstratives. We have, first of all, houtos. Everybody say that with me. Houtos. So this is the masculine form of this. And notice it has a rough breathing here and a circumflex. This two vowel sequence is called a what? Two vowels. One of them is an upsilon. It's a diphthong, and it forms how many vowel sounds? One. And is it long or short? It is long. And if you have a circumflex over any vowel, it's always a long vowel. Okay? And with diphthongs, we always put breathing marks and accents over the second member of the diphthong. So houtos is this masculine singular person. Here then we have tutu. Everybody, tutu is the genitive form of this. So of this masculine singular thing or person. Notice here that the second half of the demonstrative matches the article almost exactly, except for the accent mark, right? Over here, not as much. The omicron of the article is the same, but this has the sigma of the second declension case ending, and then the tau. So who toss to two. All right, next, tuto. Looks like toe at the end. Tuton. Looks like the article ton. Hutoi. Okay, so notice that the article's form is hoi. So that's similar, except I have the tau here, right? No tau in the article. Two-tone shares the tone ending. Tutois looks like tois there. And tutus has the shared form of the article there. Tutus. Tus. All right, let's look at the feminine form. So notice here that the feminine form of the near demonstrative, this feminine singular person, is haute. Haute. What declension pattern does this follow? First, second, or third declension? It's first, because I have an eta stem here, yes? With nominative singular, 0 case ending. All right? Over here, I had the omicron. That was second declension. Tuta, that's going to be second declension. Okay? So just as the article follows a 2-1-2 pattern, the demonstratives will follow a 2-1-2 pattern also. All right. So the forms are haute, everybody, haute. Tautes. Taute. Tautane. Again, notice that the back side of these look like the article, don't they? Hey, taste, taitane, haute, hautes, tautes, taute, tautane. All right. Hautai. The tai is similar to the high, except we have the rough breathing here. Here we have the tau. Two-tone. Tautais. Tautas. All right. So the back side looks like the article. Front side, we have this part that looks unusual. Notice I have ow, ow, in all the forms, except for this genitive plural one. All of the genitive plurals are identical here, no matter what gender we're talking about. Two-tone, two-tone, two-tone. Okay? All right. Now, the neuter forms. Everybody, tuta. So notice that ta and ta article, same. Tutu, tuto, tuta. Remember how these neuter forms in the nominative and accusative are always the same, right? All right, and then tauta for the plural. Here, the ta here and the ta here match. Two-tone, two-tois, tauta. What do we see that's different on the front end? Here I have the alphas instead of the two, right? Tauta. Tauta, not tuta. All right. So I've tried to make those big so that you can see where the differences are. All right. Now, where is there the possibility of some confusion here in this chart? Okay, yes. Haute looks a lot like what? Yes, the third person pronoun, yes? Which was, for the masculine, autas, that won't be a problem. But the feminine is aute. All the same letters, yes? Aute, haute. What's different? Okay, the breathing mark and the accent are on the front end. The breathing is rough when it's the demonstrative, smooth when it's the pronoun. Okay, so ow versus how. Aute, accent the end. Here, haute. Haute. Okay. All right. Now let's just take a look at the chart one more time here. Just as with the article, almost all the articles in Greek begin with what letter? A tau. There are only 4 places where there is no tau at the beginning. What are they? Masculine, feminine nominative, singular and plural, right? Look at the forms of the demonstratives. They all begin with a tau as well, except where? In the same places. Yeah, and when we have the lack of tau, we always have what kind of breathing mark? It's always rough. So it's either tau or a rough breathing mark. Tau or rough. Okay? All right. The difference, though, between the articles is that the articles, when they're rough breathing marks, never have the accent, right? And in these forms, they get the rough breathing and they get the accent mark, too. All right. So any questions here? Yes, yes. So haute and hey. Yes, they both have the rough breathing. Now, I've just put the article here to show you how the article is similar to the back end of each of the demonstratives. You wouldn't really see hey, haute, right? This is just a point of comparison. Right. In other words, if you can parse an article, you should be able to parse a demonstrative pronoun. Follow the same case endings. All right. Over here, we have the comparison of those third-person forms. So in red are the only places where you should ever get confused. And if you will remember the breathing marks, you will be good to go, right? Breathing marks and the accents. It's only on the feminine forms. Hutas versus autas, right? Shouldn't get those confused. By the way, all of the third-person pronouns, they always begin with ow and never with a tau, right? You'll never see a tau in front of the third-person pronoun. It's only the demonstratives and the articles that do that. All right. Any questions here?